All right. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us this Saturday afternoon. We hope everyone's staying safe. Welcome to our second session of Level Up with GDE. Today, two of Google developer experts for Firebase will be joining us, and we're very excited to what they will be sharing us. So don't forget to share this live stream on your social media accounts with the hashtags GDG Philippines and hashtag Level Up with GDE 2021. Without further ado, let me introduce our first speaker. He is a Google developer expert for Firebase, also the Chief Technology Officer and co-founder at iCook. He loves open source technologies and tech application in ad and marketing. Let's all welcome Richard Lee. Hi, Richard.
Hey, hello.
Hello, how are you?
How are you? Hope everyone still stay safe.
Yes, I hope you are also. So take it away. I'll leave you on stage.
Okay. Hello everyone. This is Richard Lee, and I'm pretty happy to be here to share with you about Firebase Extensions, the latest product that I really love in Firebase ecosystem. And by using Firebase extension, that developers can build their app quickly. I think it's pretty cool because as a Firebase GDE, that no matter it's me, my sharing is about Firebase extension, and the next speaker is also teaching you how to build app quickly. So I could say that if you want to do things quickly, Firebase is always the right choice. So, Kamsta, I learned a little bit while I preparing for the slides. And I'm Richard Lee, and I am the GDE of Firebase. I have been GDE for around a year, and it's actually my first time to do a sharing overseas. So I'm really happy to give my first speech overseas in GDG Philippines. And beyond the community work, I'm also the CTO of iCook, a recipe sharing website in Taiwan and in Hong Kong. So, as you might guess, I am also an active member of GDG Taipei. Many GDG Taipei's in-person speech is actually held in my office. So, if pandemic get well and get better, one day that we can travel to each other's country. If you come back to Taipei, please step by to GDG Taipei, and we really welcome you to share some stories from you. So of course, you can also find me on many social network. I use the username Delacti. No matter it's on GitHub, on Twitter, or on Facebook, feel free to add me and send me a message to chat around. So before we start to talk about Firebase extension, maybe I should spend some time to give you a brief introduction about what is Firebase. I mean, I heard lots of stories and people talking about Firebase. Some of them think Firebase is an analytics tool, and some of them think about it as a crash detection tool. Which one is correct? The answer is each one is all correct. So, as you might probably know, that Google has spent and invest in cloud platform as GCP for a pretty long while, and I guess that in GDG Philippines you must have few sections regarding Google Cloud Platform. But also for mobile development, you know that since the first smartphone come out like 10 years ago, things evolve quickly. You not necessarily need to have an you probably need to develop your own app, and at the same time you also need to have a backend. Like you want to have a sign-in authentication, you want to have a cloud storage to store photos uploaded by users, and all these things are way beyond just regular mobile app development. But nowadays, if you want to develop a mobile app, it must be on cloud. You must have some online APIs. But for mobile app developers, you spend time learning Kotlin, you spend time learning Swift. How could you also learn those cloud backend language? So here is Firebase. So Firebase, you can think about it as a collection of Google's offering of different sort of products that can help you to develop mobile apps. By mobile apps, I'm not necessarily means native app. It also have great support of mobile web like PWA, or also support Flutter, of course. So there are many different aspect of a Firebase product, but you can think about it in three ways. One is to build. It provides you Firestore and online distributed data store. Like you can store users like records. People might probably want to post photos, and you have some metadata, and you can send it to Cloud Firestore. And of course, authentication is really important. Firebase have a great support of third-party authentication like like Facebook, like GitHub, like they have all built-in support. So you just fill in few configuration and integrate it with Firebase authentication. Then you are good to go. You can have the Facebook login or Apple ID login within minutes. And beyond building app, we all know that building app, one of the hardest thing is that you need to release it on Google Play or on App Store in versions, and probably submit it for review before you can put it online. Comparing to web technology, you just simply put it online and everyone can see it. But for native apps, you need to cut a version and publish it. And once we release it, we really hope that we have stability in our app. So Firebase also supports, also provides you like things like Crashlytics, the leading crash detection service for mobile apps, and also provides you things like Google Analytics, which is the de facto standard for user behavior and analysis in the industry. And also, it provides lots of different sort of marketing tool like cloud messaging that you send push notification to users not only on native app but also supported mobile web. So there's a lot of things in Firebase. If you want to become a Firebase GDE like me, or you just want to learn Firebase, no worry, it's okay. You just pick up few technology that you would like to use. No rush to say I want to learn all about it. Even for many Firebase GDE, we are not really familiar with each product in details. So just pick out what you want to do. But for all Firebase products, one in the center is Firebase Cloud Functions. Some of you might already heard about Cloud Functions from like Google Cloud Platform. Yes, it's the same but a little different Cloud Function. You can develop Cloud Function in GCP way, but also in Firebase way. They have different kind of tool chain, even though the backend is the same. But anyway, so Firebase Cloud Function is a platform that you write JavaScript or TypeScript to write some custom logic, business logic, and put it on Google's infrastructure. And it can help you run backend codes. And of course, by Firebase Cloud Function, so it supports support a wide range of Firebase triggers. Like if a user sign up using Firebase authentication, and you will get a trigger event from the authentication service, and you can trigger your Cloud Function to do something. Say, if I want to send out an welcome email once users sign up for our Firebase app, and I can hook up the Firebase Cloud Function to the Firebase authentication event trigger. And the other example is once public user post photos on the app and we upload it to Firebase data store. And once the data store get a new record, it can send an event and trigger a Cloud Function and probably send push notification using Firebase Cloud Messaging. So it's like the glue or like the hook that can help you to hook different kind of a Firebase product together and build up workflows. And beyond supporting Firebase event triggers, of course, it also supports regular HTTP trigger And if you want to use Google Cloud Platform's other product, it also supports Google Cloud Platform's PubSub trigger. And the best part is that for some cases, we might want to add a few functions to our app, but remotely. I mean, I want to say, I want to make a function that can help user to put a watermark on their image, but I don't want to put it inside our client code. And I can actually put it on Cloud Function. And the Firebase Client SDK supports remote invocation, which means you can use Client SDK to call the remote Cloud Function. So which is pretty good. Sometimes for me, due to laziness, I probably don't want to implement each functionality in both sides of my native apps. Like I probably need to implement it in Android and also in iOS. And I could actually implement it on Cloud Functions and use the Firebase Client SDK to access that Cloud Functions. In that way, I can save time to implement it twice on different native platforms. Last but not least, I think Firebase Cloud Function, if you haven't tried it, I would say it provides really good developer experience. So it has a great emulator and TypeScript support out of box. So when you set out a TypeScript project, it already set you out all the toolchain that you need. And it also provides you a way to do local testing instead of you need to deploy it every time you change something, you deploy it and test. No, you don't need to do that. And you provide a great local emulator so you can test it just on your laptop, which is pretty good. So now we start to talk about Firebase extension. So how it could help you to build app quickly. So Firebase extension, by the introduction text of the Firebase website, it's a pre-packaged and open source bundle of code to automate common development tasks. So how do we say pre-packaged? It actually means that we have a lot of cloud functions, right? And some cloud function is actually, it's like a wheel. You use it in your project and we use it in my project. So it's quite common for all Firebase developers. Why not we just put it as a pre-packaged format, pre-packaged bundle, and share across the community? So the idea is a shareable cloud function. So that's the reason why I spent a few time talking about cloud function, because Firebase extension is pre-packaged cloud functions. Where could you find those extensions? It's just on the website of Firebase, no matter you have signed up or not. It's like Google Play App Store. You can find lots of different kind of apps, and at the same time, Firebase extension, you can find a lot of extensions just right on the Firebase website. So when you scroll to the Firebase extension website, you can see lots of extensions already available. On this slide, I showed you a few, like a resize image. You can think about this situation comes in many ways for different kind of apps. Each app, basically every app have with the functionality of user uploaded image, you probably need to resize image because user might send you a really large image file and you want to reduce the size. And for viewers, they don't want to download the image in such high resolution. So you can just by using Firebase extension, you no longer need to reinvent the wheel to do the resize image on Firebase platform. And probably like there's some other housekeeping Firebase extension like delete user data shown on the slide, the right bottom corner. Delete user data is also quite useful for all Firebase developer because nowadays due to privacy issues, people are more aware of privacy. They want to delete their user data. But if you delete it from Firebase authentication, you probably leave few data in Firebase data storage as well. Say, you delete a user record, but you didn't delete the photos uploaded by that user. So by integrating with this delete user data Firebase extension, it can do it automatically. You don't need to do it manually, and you wouldn't forget it anymore. So this is also super useful. But what is the best thing about Firebase extension is its integration with third-party service. Many of you probably do develop few API mashups nowadays. I mean, 10 years ago, API mashup is super trendy thing, but nowadays I think it's pretty common for you to call API no matter it's inside Google Cloud or outside of Google Cloud. Say, as you can see here, on the left bottom side of the slide, Firebase extension, there's an community extension called MailChimp. MailChimp is the leading newsletter service around the world. So for use cases that I make an app based on Firebase, and once users sign up, I want to add that user's email to MailChimp because I want to send him or her newsletters. Those kind of third-party API integration is time consuming because each different third-party API, they have their own way to authenticate, they have their own way to send data. Usually, like me, my daily job, I spend lots of time reading documentation from different kind of service because I want to figure out how the API is constructed and how I can call the API to do the things I want. So there's a lot of Firebase extensions that has pre-packaged codes that help you to code third-party service. Because no matter it's you or me, when I want to integrate Firebase with MailChimp or with other, like on the right top of the slide, it shows there's a shortened URL API with integration of Bitly. Bitly is also common around the world. All this of third-party integration, is time consuming because you need to read documentation. But why not we just share it with all the community? It's not something that you should take it secretly, that I save it in my own code base. But compare in the other way, why not we just share it to the community, and each one can just use this toolbox and to build app quickly. So that's the idea of Firebase extension. Since we have talked a lot about Firebase extension and showed you a few already available Firebase extension, you probably want to know how I can install it. Once I select one Firebase extension, how could I add it to my project? It's pretty easy, actually. Firebase extension, the best part of it is it has a great user interface, just like download apps from the App Store or Google Play. You click the install button, there will show you few pre-installed instructions and maybe some notice that you need to know before add it to your project. And like you need to set up the service account, you need to set up the privilege for this service account, and what it might probably cost you. Say you're using image resizing. Of course, there is some computation resource is required to do the image resizing, and it will show you some notice about how much it might probably cost. And of course, that you need to do configuration, like for image resizing example, which region that I want to save the file and which bucket. In Google Cloud Storage, we send data into bucket, so where we should put the resized images. And all this kind of settings just on the user interface. So few clicks and maybe fill in few forms, you can already add and install Firebase extension into your project. So if I just told you that how you can use the Firebase extension from the website, it's too easy for speech, right? So in the second half of this talk, I want to share about how you can find more Firebase extension other than the official one that you can find from the website. Yes, because it's designed to be a community project. So as you can see in the introduction text of Firebase extension, all the extension is open source. And at the same time, there are some other community built open source extension available right now. So first of all, Firebase team, they have a GitHub repository called experimental extension, which is actually maintained by Firebase. I mean, the official Firebase developers. They implement few experimental extension, but haven't put it onto the Firebase official website. You can think about it as a beta extension, and it's already available on the GitHub. You can find it under the organization Firebase Extended. And there's a repo called experimental extensions, and there are a few under development extensions that you can check it out. And of course, for Google, there's a lot of organization inside Google, right? So Google Cloud Platform, the cloud platform of Google, and they also support Firebase extension by developing few extensions that enable API on Google Cloud Platform. Like you can see, there's extensions that can help you to do data labeling or translation, because Google Cloud Platform do provide translation APIs. So Google Cloud Platform's team build Firebase extensions that Firebase users can simply add these extensions to their Firebase project and enable language translations on their app. But however, using third-party community built Firebase extension, you really need to spend a few time reading on their README file, because many of them are still under development, and some of them are not really completed yet. And there are some cautions or notice on the README sections. And beyond the one from Firebase team, the experimental extension, and the Google Cloud Platform team, there are actually few individuals that implement their own Firebase extension on GitHub. So you can use Firebase extension as a search query to search repos on GitHub. And beyond install from the Firebase web user interface, I mean, there's UI. I just show you that you can use the Firebase website to install. For the third-party extension, sometimes it not necessarily be published onto a Firebase website. So you probably need to install using Firebase CLI. And there's the command that is extension install with the name of the Firebase extension. Then it will prompt you the configuration sections once you type the command. So you can install it. Even for the official one I just showed you, like image resizing, you can install it using the web UI. At the same time, you can use using CLI to install it as well. So since Firebase extension is mostly open source, you can find most extension available. Even for the official extension, the source code is also on the GitHub. So you can read the code of the Firebase extension, and I mean, the better one is that you can even submit pull requests if you find there's some way to improve the extension. But when we dig into an extension, you will see few files that shown in each extensions. 4 files. First is post install and pre-install. These two construct the user interface that you see on the Firebase website. You remember that when we hit the image resizing install button, and there's a web UI shows you some cautions, and those description text is actually stored in these 2 markdown file. And the core part, the function folder, of course, as its name implies, it stores the cloud function source code that's do the actual job, like image resizing. So if you want to figure out what this Firebase extension actually do, you can read the codes under the functions folder. Then you will know, okay, what it actually happens underlying. And the last part, which is the most important part, is there's an extension.yaml file. It's like the package.json of any npm package, right? It stores all the metadata, like name, like the service account, like the privilege it requires to set up this Firebase extension. All this information is stored in this YAML file. So if you want to read the code underneath, you might probably want to stick to the YAML file at first, then read the source code under the function folder. So last but not least, that I want to give you a quick summary and some pitfalls of Firebase extension. So today I showed you about Firebase extension, which is one of the latest Firebase new products. It's actually a prepackaged and a community-run cloud function source code that you can share online, and users, Firebase developers can actually grab it and install it on their own app. So there are already lots of official Firebase extension available, like image resizing, like user data deletion, like third-party integration, like MailChimp. And I'm not pretty sure, maybe in your country, Stripe is available as a payment system. Then Stripe team also built a lot of payment-related Firebase extension, which is already available on Firebase website. And beyond that, in this talk, I also showed you how you can find third-party and community-driven Firebase extensions online. Simply, you can search it on GitHub, and I will recommend you to see the third-party extensions built by the Google Cloud Platform, and also experimental extensions built by Firebasers. And in the following months, I'm sure that there will be more Firebase extensions that available in the community. So stay tuned and follow this topic, and I think it will really help you to do app development. So beyond all these good things, there are a few pitfalls that I would like to remind you. First, if you haven't tried Firebase before, that you need to know that Firebase, there's a two plan. One is a free plan, and the other is paid plan. By paid plan, it not necessarily means it will charge you, because every day you have a free quota to do all the Firebase operation. Google is quite generous, just like Google Cloud Platform. It provides you free quota, and which is pretty high. So building hobby app should cost you no money, because they already provide you a free quota that can help you to build some app in your own time as a hobby. But even though due to some constraint and restriction, so you need to sign up for a Blaze plan, which means you need to fill in your payment information like credit card, because it probably needs you to do this. It's because some people might do bad things using Cloud Function, right? Because Cloud Function, you can run arbitrary code. So before install any Firebase extension or use Cloud Function, you need to sign up for a Blaze plan. So this is the first pitfall. And the second one, I think it's a pity. Until today, Firebase extension for third-party developers, I mean, if you want to build your own Firebase extension, it haven't quite available to the public yet. What I say quite available, because there's already a sign-up form on the Firebase website. So if you are interested, please do sign up on the Firebase website to show your interest that you want to build your own third-party Firebase extension. As far as I know, if you have a solid, I wouldn't say solid, if you have some real use case and you can explain why you want to build a Firebase extension, usually they will just simply let you in. And once you get enrolled in this private beta of Firebase extension, third-party community extension development, you can see the documentation that showed you the exact meaning of each key of the YAML file I just showed you. But however, for those who haven't enrolled in this beta alpha program for third-party extension, you can still use the third-party developed extension. It could be shared, but the documentation couldn't be shared. So that's the reason why I couldn't tell you too much about the exact meaning of each field of Firebase extensions YAML file. But if you are interested, please do sign up, and I think it will be a great opportunity because it's still quite early. So if you build something useful, I mean the Firebase community will appreciate it, and probably next time it's a time that you will give us a talk about how to build a great Firebase extension. So last, thanks for your time. If you got any questions, you can just leave it in the comment section on YouTube or Facebook. I will, I will read it after this speech. And of course, you feel free to contact me using social media or email. And that's it. That's my share. Hope you all stay safe and have a good day.
All right. Thank you so much, Richard. I believe those questions will be just sent on your social media or email address, right?
Yep.
All right. Thank you so much. I know a lot here of our audience was able to know more about how to use Firebase quickly to be able to build apps. We're happy to have you today and thank you so much. We hope to see you soon physically here in the Philippines.
Yeah, I really hope to visit Manila again. I used to be there like 3 years ago. So yeah, I really
Wow.
hope to
Where have
visit.
you been?
In Manila, I joined an event there, a physical event there.
Mm, okay. That's nice to hear, but we hope to have you here again when everything's normal again.
Yeah, hope you all stay safe and hope the world get into normal soon.
Yes, you too. Thank you so much. Bye
Thank you.
bye.
Bye bye.
Okay, so we're down to our next speaker. And of course, we're happy to have him today. So without further ado, let me present to your next speaker. He is the co-founder He's the co-founder of Yadada and is an active member of GUG.cz and Shishida's community and a lecturer and speaker as a Google developer expert for Firebase. He has been developing mobile apps for more than the last 5 years and has gone from Android, Java to Kotlin to iconic React Native, finally stopping at Flutter. Let us all welcome Dominic as he will talk about rocket speed production with Firebase and Flutter. Hi, Dominic. Nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you so much for um, finally accepting our invite.
Happy to be here. All right. Thanks, everyone, for coming me. I'm Dominic, as you probably heard. I'm also co-founder at IDEDA and Firebase GDE. That's probably why I'm on Firebase track today. I'm also one of the GDGs at Ostera, and you can find me with Twitter handle Rizizup. Today we will talk about rocket speed production with Firebase and Flutter. Both technologies are developed by Google, both are great, and I will show you how both are together great. First, what is Flutter? Flutter is a UI framework. It's written, the code that you are writing is written in the Dart, and it's maintained by Google. That's great, because one company maintains two technologies, like Flutter and Firebase. You heard what is Firebase. Firebase is great. And all those libraries, new features that coming with Firebase are great. Then all those features are also maintained by the Flutter team, and you can see them and use them in the Flutter app. Flutter is great because it started as a mobile framework. You develop multiple applications for iOS and Android, but you can use Flutter for web and desktop application. You can use almost all the features that Firebase is. Sorry for that. Okay, all those features that Firebase have, like Cloud Firestore, Cloud Functions, authentication. Hosting, it's kind of hard, but yeah, with Flutter Web, you can use it. Cloud storage and others. One thing that for now you can't use or it's hard to use is Test Lab. But all other things you can use in your Flutter app. Firebase love Flutter. As I said, it's both maintained by Google. Probably their both team have same launch, because usually when something is released by Firebase team, in a few days it's up to date in the Flutter library. You can find all those libraries that I already mentioned on the firebase.flutter.dev. There are 7 stable plugins. Others are bit in beta, but they are well maintained by Google team and open source contributors. And as you can see, Flutter in a few days ago it was released for web and macOS, and already 2 libraries or 7 libraries are also supported for those platforms. Okay, features. First, I will start with authentication. A lot of features you saw in the previous talk, but I will repeat probably again. Authentication. It has pre-built UIs. It supports OAuth2, and it has Google, Facebook, GitHub, and more providers. How you can use that? You import Firebase Auth package. You find Firebase Auth instance, and you register, for example, in one line. I will call instance and create user with email and password. Few lines of code, and you have register code for your user in your app. Okay, sign with Google. That's not only Firebase Auth package. You have to use Google Sign-in package, but that's fine. I will call Google Sign-in. That pop-ups the screen for the Google Auth. I will find Google user and find his authentication, find his credentials, access token and ID token, and sign in with those credentials into Firebase. One thing that you probably need in the future is anonymous sign-in, because most of the time you need that your user is signed in your app. You want to connect his data with his, for example, UID. But sometimes you don't need Google sign-in, Facebook sign-in, or sign in with email or password, but you want to sign in him in the background. There is sign-in with anonymous feature in the Firebase, and you just call it in your app, and your user is signed in. Okay, Firestore. I can go. It's NoSQL cloud database. It's modeled as a collection of documents, and it's horizontally scaled. What I mean with horizontally scaled, in this case, I have users with workouts and their history. Users have collection of workouts. Workouts have documents like jogging, easy yoga, super yoga, and each document have his history. History is also a collection of documents. It's shallow by default, then you usually download no more than just document that you're looking for. And it's horizontally scaled. That it's really great for 1,000 users, million users. It doesn't really care how many users you already have. It's automatically scaling for you. And the response rate is still the same. How to set data into Firestore? I will find images under user ID. I will include image ID and set data in my Firestore, like title. I have collection of images. If I want to load some images, a collection of images, I will order them by create date. I will limit to 5 I want to download last 5 images, and I will call snapshots. What I mean with snapshots? Snapshots, it is like stream of documents. Each change happening in Firebase is each change that is happening in the Firebase. I know about it. It calls immediately in my app, and I have up to date my document. Firebase and Flutter goes together. And how far it is? Flutter have multiple widgets, like, I don't know, container, list view, but you have, for example, also Stream Builder and Feature Builder. Those widgets are great for Firebase. I have Stream Builder in this case, and it can listen to my changes in my Firebase. Stream Builder, I have Firestore instance as a stream that we are downloading collection of users. I'm converting to my model in my app. I have user model. It's already converting those documents into my like Dart object, and I'm downloading snapshots. That means that I have stream in my app that listening to all changes that are happening in a collection of users, and I know latest info about my users. That would be probably hard to use in production because there's so much users in some apps, and you don't want to download like million of documents. But in this case, it's just like showcase of the Flutter and Firebase. I have Builder over here. I'm waiting if my connection is waiting or none. That means that if it's none or waiting, it's waiting to my app to connect to Firebase and download those data. And if I have that data, I will show list view. I will create count over here, how many docs are there, and I will show in a list style. And I have a list of users, like few lines of code and easy to use. Stream Builder and Feature Builder are great for Firebase, and you're probably gonna use that mostly in a Firestore. Cloud storage. Cloud storage is object storage service. It has high scalability, high availability. It can store like almost any file. How to upload image into cloud storage? That's kind of easy. I will pick file with my picker as a get image. I will find image source gallery. I will find that file. I will find the storage reference. In this case, it's user ID and his images in the storage. And I have storage upload task, and I will wait until my file is uploaded into Firebase. You can see how those libraries are great in Flutter, and Flutter is ready for Firebase code, I can say. It's not like you can't use Flutter without Firebase, but it's easy to use Firebase with a Flutter. Analytics. Almost any app, we are after like development, we have app with a great authentication, great Firestore and things like that. It's all great. I love it, that app. But I want to track how many users are in a Firebase or in my Flutter app. Okay, I have analytics over here. Firebase Analytics are like Google Analytics, and it's built on the top of Google Analytics. It's app measurement solution. It tracks your app usage and app engagement. How it looks like in a Firebase. I connected my app to my Google Analytics. Great on that. You don't really have to use so much. You just put your analytics in a pub spec, and your app is already tracked by the Firebase Analytics. Okay, I see the map where are my users. I can update my app for those countries, for example. or I can like have extra like languages in my app, and it's great because you won't have best feeling for your user. Performance monitoring. It's easy tracking of app performance issues. You want to track how your app is behaving in a production. For example, you don't want to have app that freezes in a production, and for example, your user waiting like 8 seconds for first screen or more. You don't want that. In my case, I have like, oh, sorry, something happened. Yeah, okay. In my case, I have load game function, and I'm waiting to load game load. I will create a trace that's called load game. I will start that trace. I will wait that my game is prepared, and I will stop the trace. And I have that time stored in a Firebase, and I can see how it's behaving in a history. Like a few days ago, it was like 2 seconds. Today it's 6 seconds. What happened? Okay. Oh, there was some update. I can see those changes in that update, and I will see those changes in that update, and I can like, fix them or things like that. It's great. You want to know as many information you want, and Firebase have features for that. And those features can be easily used in a Flutter app. Firebase Crashlytics, amazing feature. It's real-time crash reporter, and you want to have as many crash reports you can have. Like if your app in production fails and it crashes or more, you want to know about that crash. How easy it's to implement that. I will call again my Firebase Crashlytics library. I will like connect that into Flutter error on error handler. And each time something happened in my Flutter app, some crash, it can be non-fatal or fatal, like even crash or just small like things that not immediately fails the app and app's still running. But you want to know about those things, like some like small changes in the UI happened, and it was because some background thing happened. It didn't fail the app, but do you want to know about that crash? Just one like the code before that, it's not needed. It's tracking crashes also in the dev mode. I have like for the test case, I have it enabled, but usually you don't want to track like crashes in a debug, for example. Isolate. Isolates I like background thing in a Flutter. Flutter runs in one thread. All the things that are happening are running usually in one thread. If you want to do something heavy, you want to create isolate. It's like it creates separate thread for that function and run it there. And when it's finished, it calls back with the data that computes. I want to track some crashes in isolate because there can be like heavy functions that have so many bugs, like you have some junior in the team and things like that. You want to track crashes in the isolate. Okay, Firebase Crashlytics in a Flutter app are ready for that. You can add the listener to your isolate, and when it receives some pair of the raw receive port, you can track it in Crashlytics. And those crashes can be seen in a Firebase console. In this case, I don't have like crashes from the Flutter app. It's from an Android app, some Java. But okay, that's like for the showcase, it's totally fine. I have 99.18% users okay. have crashes 21 that affected like almost 1% of the users, and I know which files and which like lines of code failed. That's great information for developers because they can see which lines of code are bad and can fix them. Notification. There are two types of the notification in Firebase. There are Firebase background and foreground notification. As I already said, almost anything that you doing in a Firebase, usually there is some like setup before the use of the package, but after that it's really easy to use. In this case, I want to listen to background message. In the Flutter code, you have to have some static function, some background handler that will not be connected like to your app. You want to have some like function that is like not there is which is not needed in your Flutter app. I'm calling background handler, and I will download like data from that message that came. There would be some problems if there is no title or body, but yeah, that's fine. And I'm saving it in a local database. On message listen, that's foreground handler. You want to listen sometimes to notification when user is already in your app. You have his app open and looking into that, and you want to wait when your app is like notified by the Firebase about the notification, and you want to show those notifications to your user. Okay, Firebase messaging on message handler is there, or stream. That in this case, it's stream. Like on message is a stream of messages, and you are listening into that. And yeah, you're downloading his data. I made it so much fast today. I'm sorry about that, but at the end of my presentation, if there are some questions, I would be happy to answer them. But thanks for like inviting me. I don't know why I did it so fast. Last time it was like 2 times longer. But yeah.
Thank you so much, Dominic, for sharing. I know some of our audience has a lot of questions, but how can they reach out to you?
They can reach out to me in my Twitter handle. I usually answer to messages on Twitter. They can reach out to me to LinkedIn. I also answer questions there. Usually, any social media that I use, I answer question if there is any.
All right. Okay. So we'll also post it on our social media. Thank you so much for joining us, Dominic, and I hope you'll be safe. And also, same with Richard, we hope to see you here in Manila soon.
I would love to be there.
Okay. Thank you so much. Stay safe.
Thank you too.
Bye. So that's
Bye.
it. Thank you so much for joining us on the second session of Level Up with GDE, and we hope to see you again soon. Happy Saturday afternoon. Bye bye.